brilliance. That's all I can say. Sheer, unadulterated brilliance.
What's up, everyone? It's Shane from Maximum Quality Content here. And today we're going to be talking about taxes! Yeah! Well, that's a bit of a stretch. We're not really going to be talking about tax. We're going to be briefly touching on them a tiny bit, but that's about it. This video is mainly about film cancellation. Countless movies have suffered the dreaded acts of cancellation for a variety of reasons. The latest movie to have fallen prey to this attack, is Coyote vs. Acme. Now, if you don't know, supposedly the movie is about self-proclaimed genius Wile E. Coyote. I mean, we can all gather that much. And we all know who that mofo is. He will stop at nothing to devour cock. There's nothing stopping this man, essentially. And to be honest, who can blame him? I've seen quite a few cocks in my time, and let me tell you, they're beautiful birds. Beautiful. But of course, how's he trying to capture Roadrunner in the first place? Well, I mean, we've all seen the shorts, we've all seen Looney Tunes. Every time he's trying to catch him, he's trying to use an Acme product, whether it's Acme roller skates, Acme magnet, Acme, you know, rock. But anyway, you know what I mean. He's always using Acme products. And we all know how it ends, always in calamity, always with Wile E. Coyote suffering like brain damage and falling from insane heights, you know. So it kind of seems that Acme, the company he's always using, is kind of liable, don't you think? I mean, every product he buys is crap and doesn't work. Essentially, the film's premise was going to be Wile E. Coyote going after the company, suing them for damages, mental disturbance, you know, all the rest, all the 9 yards, for basically causing him distress for countless years. And to be honest, it sounds like a pretty cool concept. But unfortunately, as we all know, it was shelved. Warner Bros. Discovery announced it would shelve the completed Coyote vs. Acme, a hybrid live-action and animated film based on the iconic Looney Tunes character Wile E. Coyote, making the movie the latest in a recent trend of fully produced shows and television series being cancelled by production companies for cost-cutting purposes. So yeah, that sucks major arse. But this is not the first time WB has shelved projects into the abyss, into the vaults. Other examples include Scoob! Holiday Haunt, a sequel to the original Scoob that they released in some year, I don't remember, and Batgirl, a movie about Batgirl, which we'll actually touch on in a bit. The point is, they have a history of doing this, usually for tax write-offs, and it seems to be the same case with Coyote vs. Acme. They were going to can it for tax write-off purposes. However, the justification for these write-offs is completely different. And I feel like most articles and most other YouTube videos are failing to note how different these write-offs are from one another. And I feel it's really important to acknowledge that difference. You'll see why as we get through the video. Now, if you don't know what tax write-offs are, and believe me, I didn't either, I'm no expert in this crap. Well, let me just give you a little brief explanation. Basically, the IRS allows individuals to claim a standard deduction on their income tax return and also itemized deductions if they exceed that level. Deductions reduce the adjusted gross income applied to a corresponding tax rate. Tax credits may also be referred to as a type of write-off because they are applied to taxes owed, lowering the overall tax bill directly. The IRS allows businesses to write off a broad range of expenses that comprehensively reduce taxable profits. A whole bunch of word soup, I know, but essentially the point is that you can claim a whole bunch of either inventory items or necessary expenses as write-offs. Therefore, the IRS will allow them to be not taxed, essentially, thus reducing your overall taxable income. So for example, say you work from home, you have 4 rooms in your home, one of which you only use as an office. Your electricity bill for the year is £400. Assuming all the rooms in your home use equal amounts of electricity, you can claim £100 as allowable expenses, therefore making it so you wouldn't be taxed on that £100 or that one office that you use for work, as it's a necessary business expense. All companies do this, but when we're talking about production companies, whenever they write off a movie or something like that, it's because they sank a bunch of money into it, but they can't release it. So it's just a loss. And so when they claim it as a write-off, that means the project has to be completely wiped from existence. It has to be completely yeeted from the earth. To show you guys what I mean by differences in tax write-offs in terms of Warner Brothers cancelled projects, I want to go back to the Batgirl movie to show you the difference between that and Coyote versus Acme, because the situations there are completely different, and you'll see why. So initially the situations seem pretty similar. Batgirl was also cancelled at the last minute, like all filming had been completed, and by that point they had already sunk a huge budget into it. Cost over 90 million to make, like Jesus Christ. Films don't usually get scrapped that late in production, but it has happened, and with Warner Brothers it's happening more often than not. But Batgirl being shelved actually makes sense. I understand why Warner Brothers would shelve this movie, and here's why. First of all, test screenings for the movie were overwhelmingly negative from what I've read. Like, people that went to see it did not like it. They thought it was pure trash. And plus, let's take into account Warner Brothers' history with female-led superhero movies. I mean, what do they have? They had the Supergirl movie and the Catwoman movie, both of which flopped, both of which had awful reviews, and both of which scarred the DC brand at the time. I don't know what it is, but for some reason Warner Brothers have such a they have a curse with female-led superhero movies. So given those two reasons, it makes a lot more sense as to why Batgirl was shelved. Add on top of that Warner Brothers' crap financial situation. I'm pretty sure they're still bleeding money, and their finances are still in the toilet. So if you add all that together, it makes sense as to why they cancelled Batgirl and deleted it and yeeted it from history. On the other hand, there is still a debate. There's still a matter of all the people who worked hard on the film. Like, all that manpower, all that labour was put into it, only for it to be just deleted. That's years of work just flushed away. I mean, that sucks. There's no getting around that. It's just terrible. So it all creates a debate on, like, the company's interest versus the employee's interest. My take on this is, like, Warner Brothers' decision made sense. Don't get me wrong, it's a shitty thing to do. They shouldn't have greenlit the project in the first place if they didn't have any faith in it. But at the same time, their decision to cancel it, based on what we've seen, the evidence we've seen so far, it makes sense as to why they would cancel it. And let's not forget that, bad movies, bad press, and bad, scarring of brands, that doesn't just hurt the company, it hurts everyone who worked on the film, it also hurts potential for that IP to be used in the future. Going back to that Catwoman and Supergirl movies, I mean, they really fucked those IPs for a long time. Well, that about sums up the Batgirl movies cancellation, but what about Coyote versus Acme? Well, what's the difference, you ask? Well, it's simple. The reasoning for cancellation in this case is pure bullshit and doesn't make any sense. So it's pretty much the same situation. Most of the movie had been finished and filmed, but they cancelled it at the last minute and shelved the project. But that decision is purely nonsensical, and I'm not just speaking out my ass when I say that. I have evidence. First of all, Space Jam 2 broke slightly more than even at the box office, making about $163 million on a $150 million budget. Now, of course, you're gonna say, Shane, come on, man. MQC, come on, man. That's barely a return on investment. They just barely broke even, man. How is that a good thing? Well, I say it's a good thing because all the odds were stacked against it. Like, before the movie was coming out, everyone was shitting on it. Everyone was calling it a purely corporate movie, and bland and awful, just shoving in IPs to the bloody brim. There was barely any positive press for this movie on social media whatsoever. Everyone was talking trash on it. And plus, it's a sequel to a movie that was released, in the 80s? 90s? Hold on, let me look this up. It's a sequel to a bloody 90s movie about a basketball player, teaming up with Bugs Bunny. Like, that's a niche thing to begin with. It's not like people were clamouring for a sequel to fucking Space Jam of all things. No one wanted a sequel to that. So the fact that it still somehow made more than its budget, I mean, that's amazing. It should have been a flop, given everything was stacked against it, but it somehow wasn't. And plus, on top of that, let's think of another movie that was live action cross animation. So Tom and Jerry 2021 was made on a budget of about 50 to 80 million. That's quite a big gap, but I can't find a consistent number. This is just going off of Wikipedia. So about 50 to 80 million. And it made 136 million worldwide. I mean, that's a box office success, right? Plus it proves animation cross live action isn't just a doomed genre that's always going to flop. Plus, I'm pretty sure there have been Looney Tunes projects in the past recent years that haven't flopped and haven't failed. So this is why I say the decision makes no sense. Space Jam 2, despite being pure crap, still managed to make back its budget and slightly more than that. And plus, Tom and Jerry 2021 was a box office success. So given all that, why cancel it? It could have been profitable. There's still an audience there. But I'm not done. I'm still not done. I need my water for this. Jesus. Coyote being locked away is pure bullshit because the film was praised in test screenings as well. All over Twitter and all over articles that you'll see on the internet, there's people that went to see private screenings of the movie have all been positive about it. Overwhelmingly so. So it's not like they can just claim, oh, well, it was going to be a disaster, it was going to damage the brand, blah, blah, blah. Because people actually liked the damn thing. This is why it frustrates me, because the film was just cancelled based on the company's whim, on David Zaslav's whims. Well, I'm pretty sure it wasn't just him making that decision, but still. It was cancelled because, what was the reason again? What was the reason they actually cancelled the movie in the first place that Warner Bros. Gave? Warner Bros. Decided not to move forward with Coyote vs. Acme, which was reportedly set for release on Max, because of an effort to shift its global strategy to focus on theatrical releases, a Warner Bros. Spokesperson told The Hollywood Reporter. That's their reason. You know, we're putting movies in cinema, so fuck it, I don't want to release something on streaming. Even though we have a whole streaming service available, fuck it. I don't want to make movies for it anymore, even though we still are. So that reason doesn't really make any sense. This is why I say Batgirl and Coyote vs. Acme are two completely different situations. On one hand, Batgirl's cancellation makes sense and is justified in my opinion, whereas Coyote vs. Acme is completely just batshit insane, doesn't make any sense, it's just stupid. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention is that a lot of people claim that the Batgirl movie, or just, other movies in the past, people claim that companies make a movie for the intent of writing it off on taxes, which doesn't make any sense. And this is why. You see, while they can and did claim it as a tax write-off, the potential tax savings aren't as large as some people think, and probably isn't the main reason for the movie's cancellation. By cancelling the film, Warner Bros. Discovery's tax bill will not be reduced by 90 million. Instead, Warner Bros. Discovery will reduce its taxable income by that amount, and the tax savings would be a fraction of that. Even less if outside investors help finance the film. With the federal corporate tax rate at a flat 21%, the tax savings will be 18.9 million, with additional tax reductions at the state and local level. On that note, it would make no economic sense for Warner Bros. Discovery to spend $90 million to save about $20 million in taxes. So it's not like they're sinking $90 million for a return of $90 million in tax savings. It just seems like a last minute decision because Warner Bros. Are stupid and didn't know what the hell they were doing. That's what it seems like to me. While shitting on corporations is the easy thing to do, let's not forget that poor reception and poor box office inarguably hurt art and brands, potentially limiting their future. I feel like we should all just instead focus our attention on making your voices heard, and making your opinions heard about wanting a project to be continued or released when the circumstances don't make any sense. Case in point, Coyote vs. Acme, and this is proven to work, as Coyote vs. Acme is now being allowed to be shipped to other services to potentially be shown. Like for instance, Apple TV or Netflix might pick it up and put it on their service and fund the completion of the movie. Which, in my opinion, is pretty likely because not only have people shown that there's a desire for the film to be released, but also think about the good press you're gonna get. Warner Bros. Is not only in the toilet when it comes to finances, they're also in the toilet when it comes to press. I mean, everyone is crapping on the company, and for good reason. They've made a lot of crappy decisions recently. Point is, Warner Bros. Looks like absolute ass right now, and not the good kind, so imagine being a studio picking up the project. Imagine the good press you'll get. Hey, it's us. We're the bloody production company that picked up this project that was going to be cancelled and deleted from existence, and we picked it up. We gave the artists a chance to complete their project and show it to the world. We're better than that nasty Warner Brothers company who's just going to delete it from existence for tax purposes. So yeah, that's why I think it's pretty likely that it's going to be picked up. But you know, I could be wrong. Time will tell. We'll see. We'll see. But now, before I end the video, literally just as I was making and recording this, there was like a last minute update which I just noticed. Apparently a Texas congressman is calling for a federal investigation on Warner Brothers as a result of their string of cancellations recently. I'm not sure if this is going to go anywhere. I mean, Warner Brothers could easily worm their way out of it and claim, oh, we couldn't predict, these products could have failed and blah blah blah. I mean, I'm sure they'll find a way to weasel out of it. In my opinion, I don't think Warner Bros. Is doing this on purpose. I don't think they're just making projects just to shelve them. As you know, because as I've stated, that doesn't really make sense because they're not making huge tax savings upon writing off these movies. I believe it's because, like I said, their finances are in the toilet. So because of that, they're too afraid to commit to a project. Like, they'll greenlight a project, but they don't want to make the commitment of investing more money into it because of potential failure, which is still a really shitty thing to do. So yeah, if you're taking anything away from this video, it's that Warner Bros. Sucks, and their decision to yeet Coyote versus Acme out of existence sucks and makes no logical sense whatsoever, and bullying companies works. A case in point, Coyote versus Acme. Probably because they didn't want all that bad press of just deleting the whole thing like they've done countless times before. But if I've gotten anything wrong at all, please let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to issue a retraction if I actually did get anything wrong in the first place. But I'm confident that I mostly did a pretty good job. I hope so. God. But you know, finances aren't my specialty, so there's always a possibility that I messed up somewhere. And if I did, let me know. Anyways, like if you liked, dislike if you disliked, subscribe for more quality content, and I'll see you guys next time.
Have some more chicken, have some more pie, have some more chicken, have some more pie, have some more chicken, have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried. Have some more chicken, have some more pie, have some more chicken, have some more pie, have some more chicken, have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried.